Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Hope we're all able to see me. I know last time we saw that the video might freeze a bit, but hopefully the audio is sound. So welcome to our whole school assembly. Now we focused a lot during school life on keeping safe, obviously, on stopping the spread and stuff like that. And what I want to talk about this morning is that because we've been focused on that, are we still focusing on other important things as well? Not instead of, as well. So our first assembly we did when we were outside at the beginning of term, we talked about being more positive. Do you remember that? About being a bit more pos, a little bit less neg. Yeah, it's because it's important to have the right attitude. In the second assembly, we set up our goals, and so we had a goal to achieve over the following 4 weeks. And nearly everybody had a go, but nearly everybody achieved it. I can report now that I've achieved my goal, a couple of weeks late, but I've done it. And the third assembly we had was about prejudice, about resetting our moral compass. Can we be more decent? Can we be nicer to people? So what's the focus for today? So I want the focus for today, really, to be one of the most important things that we could be thinking about being in school is a focus on learning. Are we focused enough on why we are here in the first place? We're not here just to have a good chinwag, are we? We're here to learn something, hopefully. So I want to talk about learning and what it is, and what helps us do it and what stops us do it. And you're going to do a task afterwards in your tutor groups which is about that, which is focused on that. So learning isn't remembering. People think it is, don't they? People think that I've got to memorize loads of stuff. Learning is not memorizing things. In fact, you could probably only memorize about 6 things at once before you forget the first thing. If you try to remember a phone number, you'll know what I'm talking about. Although I can remember 018118055, which is the number for the multicoloured swap shop TV series. Yeah, I don't know why I remember that. I phoned it once, but I never got through. I tried to speak to Adamant, but didn't get through. Anyway, so we do remember useless information, but learning at school isn't about remembering information. And if you look hard at your subjects, you'll find that, yes, there are a few things you have to remember. Of course there are. But learning is more than that. Learning is about being able to do something that you couldn't do before. So learning is a process, it's an activity, it's a thing that you do. It's not something you have, in the same as memory. So people think, oh, I've got a bad memory. Well, those people probably lie about other things as well. You don't have memory, you do memory. It's an important distinction. You do memory and you do learning. You don't have learning, you don't have memory, you do it. It's a thing you do. It'd be a bit like me saying, I have really bad football. And you think, well, what are you talking about? Don't you mean you're really bad at football? Yeah, I'm bad at doing the thing, but I'm not bad at football. It doesn't make any sense, does it? Because we know football's an activity that you can be good or bad at. And so is memory, and so is learning. They're activities, the things you can do. So I think we perhaps could make the mistake of confusing being busy, being active, doing stuff with accomplishment. It's the classic confusing activity with accomplishment. So we turn up and we think we're learning. We write things down and we think we're learning. But are we? Now, learning something is about, I can hear myself echoing down, I think it's from year 7, that's really weird. Yeah, across there. Yeah, learning something is about knowing something, not remembering it. So when I go to pick up a pen, I don't think, oh, I can't remember. Am I left or right-handed? Which is it? I can't remember. I don't do that, and neither do you. Although some of you do, actually. I know that it's my right hand. I know that I'm right-handed. It's just, I know it. So we've got to get your information that you want to know. You've got to know it, not just remember it. If you remember it, you'll forget it. Now, I'm doing an after-school Italian course, thanks to the patience and perseverance and expertise of our very own Mr. Thomas, and I'm useless at it. Yeah, I am really bad at it. And at the moment, that's true. I can say that. And I tried to analyse when I was talking to you. I think, how can I be bad at it? It's shameful, isn't it? I'm good at so many things. I'm like, yeah, good at so many things, and yet I'm useless at that. And it's an embarrassment because I get an exercise and I do it and I get it right, and then 5 seconds later I can't do it again. I think, oh, this is what it must be like for you lot. Yeah, this is what it must be like. It looks obvious. to me that you can solve this problem, and yet some people struggle with it. And here I am in your position trying to do this thing and I can't do it. Why can't I do it? Why can't I do it? It seems obvious, and yet there's 2 reasons. And I want you to think of these reasons and see if they apply to you. 2 reasons. 2 reasons why you can't do anything, why you don't learn anything. And one is you're not really that bothered. That's the main reason. You're not really that interested. There's plenty of other things that are more important. And that's true for me with the Italian. I'm doing it just for a bit of fun. So there's plenty of other things in my life that are important, things I need to be doing. So I'm not prioritizing it, obviously. So if I want to be better at it, then I'm going to have to focus on it. And you should be thinking the same. You're not very good at geography or games or maths or whatever it is. You're not focusing on it. You're not really that bothered. So you're at school. You have to be here. You should be bothered. You should find a way to be bothered. I'll come back to that later. The second reason is the weird one. And the weird one is that with the Italian, I have not spotted the patterns. I've not spotted how to conjugate verbs. I've not spotted what the repeating patterns are. I don't know what they are. So when I think of, is it Lego? Is it Lou? Is it Lee? Is it le? Is it ill? I haven't. It's not that I haven't remembered it, because if I remember it, I'll soon forget it. It's I don't know the pattern. Now, all learning is pattern recognition, and this might seem weird and complex to you, but it is. All learning is spotting the pattern. That's what it is. Everything, whether it's maths, art, cricket, physics, or history. It's about spotting patterns in English, spotting patterns in scuba diving. Whatever it is spotting patterns. This bloke wrote a book about it. This is Matthew Said. He wrote a book called Bounce. It's called Bounce because he was the world champion, table tennis champion, ping pong, you know. And he started to analyse why he was good at it and why are other people good at stuff and other people are successes, world champions, and other people aren't. And he tried to find out what it was. So he interviewed tons and tons of people, and it's all in this book. And he found out that what I've just said this is where he got it from. It's about pattern recognition. So in something like table tennis or a impact speed sport, what do you think is the main skill that you would need to be able to do it? You can shout it out if you want. You think, it could be hand-eye coordination. It could be that, yeah. And the other one could be reaction time. You think if you've got good reaction time, you're going to be quick. You're going to be good at tennis or table tennis. But what Matthew Said found is that that's not the case, and that most people have good hand-eye coordination, and most people have good reaction time. We're all more or less the same on it. So to be a champion, it's not about those things. So what is it about? And he said what it's about is that the pattern recognition. So the tennis player, or table tennis player, can look at his opponent or her opponent and see which muscles are being used, what the stance is, where the elbow is moving, where the angle of the bat, and they can instantaneously recognise that pattern means that they're going to move to this certain position, that the ball will hit at this angle, the ball will move over there, and all they do is then just move to where the ball's going to be. So they don't need to be speedy. They don't need great hand-to-eye coordination. They don't need reaction time. They just need to be where the ball's going to end up. And that's how it works in a high-speed sport. That's how it works in all the high-speed sports. But that's how it works in everything. In chess, it's pattern recognition. In maths, it's pattern recognition. In art, it's pattern recognition and pattern recreation. Can you recreate a pattern? Can you see what is out there in the world and recreate it in some form? Maybe change it slightly. Everything is pattern recognition and pattern recreation. So I haven't spotted the pattern in Italian, but once I do, I'll be able to do it. Once you spot the pattern in chemistry, you'll be able to do it. There are patterns there. There are patterns in everything in life. Can you spot them? Okay, so you've got to be interested. You've got to engage with it. That's obvious. And you're looking for the pattern. It's the shortcut, it's the cheat. That's what we're trying to find. What's the shortcut? What's the cheat? What's the secret of how to do the thing that we're trying to learn, that we're trying to understand? Now, we need to change what we're doing, unless you're happy with your results. If you're perfectly happy with results, you can ignore the next bit I'm going to say, if you're completely happy. But I suggest we're not happy. I'm not happy with what I'm getting. I want more success. I want to be better at things. So if we want to be better at things, we have to change something. This is what I want to talk about now. We've got to change something. It was Henry Ford said that if you keep on doing what you're doing, you'll keep on getting what you're getting. if you keep on doing what you're doing, you will keep on getting what you're getting. And applying that to school means if you keep getting a C or a D or a B or whatever it is, if you keep doing the same things, you'll probably keep getting that grade. But if you want more, you're going to have to change something. Einstein put it like this. He said a definition of insanity is keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. So we have to change something. Now I said this talk is about a focus on learning, so I want to make a change, and some of you might not get it, some of you might not like it. I'm going to ask you to challenge your teachers, so the teachers won't like it. I'm going to ask you to change the language that we use around learning. And people will resist change, don't they? People don't like changing what they do. So here's what we're going to do. It's very, very simple. We're going to ban work. We're not going to do any work. Right? We're going to ban work, and we're going to ban the use of the word work. And I'm serious. And I'm going to explain it. And if after I've explained it, you still don't agree with me, then the next assembly is yours, and you can do a counter argument to say, bring work back. Okay? What do I mean? Work. What are you saying?
Does it mean think like smarter about what you're doing instead of working really hard at something?
Okay, we're there, but it's even simpler than that. Okay, you didn't come here to work. This is not work. You don't get paid to be here. You're not producing anything. This is not work. You're here to learn. And if we focus on work, the word work, on get on with your work, on do your work, on here's a worksheet. Now work is boring. Work, nobody likes to work. People like to play. So that's one reason, that the word work is it's a drudgery, isn't it? Work, you know. You're going to be working for the rest of your life. You didn't come here to work. So there is that, but that's not the focus. The focus is get on with your work means complete this task. The focus is on getting it done. That should not be the focus. The focus is learn something. You're here to learn, not to complete worksheets. You're here to learn, not to get it done. You're here to learn. So you're going to ask yourself, and you're going to ask your teacher, did I learn anything in this lesson? And if not, you're going to have to soul search yourself. Why didn't I learn anything? Does it need to be done in a different way? Do I need to behave differently? This is about, can we take control of this learning? We're going to ban the word work. Now, you can still work hard, because that's, you're working hard is a verb, isn't it? But it's the noun work that's banned, because it's not a worksheet, it's something else. Think of this. 100 years ago in prisons, the prisoners were asked to pick up cannonballs, which are about this big, very, very heavy, and take them from one end of a room and stack them on the other end of the room. And then there was a massive stack of cannonballs, really, really heavy. So like, it'd be taking ages to carry just one, and they would stack them. And then once they were stacked to the other side of the room, they went over to that side of the room, picked them up, and carried them and stacked them at the other side of the room. It's not a waste of time, isn't it? It didn't achieve anything. It was just to get them to do something. There was a point to it, slightly, and the point was that they were exercising. Okay, so it was a way of exercising. So if you're given a task to do, it might be an exercise, and if it's an exercise, if it's practice, call it practice. If it's an exercise, call it exercise. It's not work. If I'm going to my garden and doing some work in my garden, then that is work, because the end result is my garden as whatever result I've got in it. But I didn't learn anything. The purpose wasn't to learn anything, the purpose was to complete a task. So we need to be honest with ourselves about what we are trying to achieve in lessons and in prep. Am I learning? Now I've seen loads of examples of a bad learning. That isn't learning. I've seen people like hand in tests with blanks, with question marks. I've seen people when we give tests back or other tasks, and they'll write the answers in quickly as if they were trying to complete a sticker album or something. To get a complete set of answers was the goal. That's not the goal. The goal is to learn. And a test is a tool, and a worksheet is not a worksheet, it's an exercise, is a tool. Questions and discussions, essays, they're all tools, and there are plenty of other tools that we can be using. I've seen people write so quickly that they're just trying to do it as fast as possible, that the grammar is atrocious, and that when you read the question back, the question grammatically doesn't make sense. The answer doesn't make sense compared to the question. People, especially in our scientific subjects and mathematical subjects, not writing the working out, just as fast as possible trying to get the answer and write the answer down. The point isn't to get it done, the point is to learn. Am I making some sort of sense? Ban the word work. We're not here to work. Now in prisons, they get the prisoners to work, to weave baskets or do stuff in the community and things like that, as if they're trying to in some form rehabilitate prisoners so that they would go into the community. But the research shows that it's a flawed plan, because the work that prisoners do in prisons is basically slave labour. They do pay them in Britain. They're pointless tasks. It's not about rehabilitating them at all. And when I'm thinking about the work that we might be doing in school, that's also bad for us, because it's giving us an impression that this is work, that work is some meaningless task that you do to complete. Now in the real world, work is totally different from that. In school, when you're given a test or a task to do, you're told, do not copy other people, aren't you? You're told that. And you're told, don't show anybody else what you've done so that they can copy it. And you're told, do it on your own individually. That is anti-work. That is against the principles that out there jobs work. In jobs, in the real world, when you're doing proper work, you share your results. In proper work, you collaborate in teams. You don't do things on your own. Very rare. And in the proper world of work, you go and look and see what the competition's doing. It's very important to see what other people are doing. It's very important to copy them if they're doing the right thing. So we're not training you properly by calling it work. It's not work. It's not work now, and it's not preparing you for work. It's a misnomer. And I'm telling you to change the language. And I'm challenging teachers to change the language. You don't agree with me? Floor's yours next time. Language is very important. The words we use on ourselves are very important. I've heard countless times this term and last term, I can't do it, or I'm no good at this, or the brilliant one the other week, I'm not going to get any GCSEs. That certain, are you? Yeah. If you're that certain, don't bother coming in. I mean, it's totally pointless, isn't it? If you're that certain you're not going to get GCSEs age 12, don't bother coming in. What's the point? You've already decided. Your fate is sealed. Because I can't do it for you. I can't make you learn. You have to do it. And if you already decided you're useless, there's not much I can do. We've got to change the language, and we've got to be more pos, a bit less neg. We've got to be more open, and we've got to be focused on learning, not focused on just getting things done. An interesting story I heard about newlyweds. A couple who were married, and the husband was cooking a roast beef. Right? And so he's getting this roast, I'm going to cook roast beef just as my mother used to do it. And he cut like an inch or 2 inches off the ends. I see about 2 centimetres, that is in modern money. He cut off the ends of the roast beef and wasted these bits of meat and threw them away. And his wife said, why have you done that? And he said, well, that's how my mother used to do it. So very curious about this, they went to see mother and asked mother, why did you cut off the ends of like 2 centimetres off both ends of the roast beef? And she said, well, my mother always did that. That's how you do it. That's how it's done. That's how you've done it. That's how we always do it. That's how we do it. So they thought, well, this is weird. Let's go and see grandma. So they went to see grandma, who was in her late 90s at the time, and she was in a home somewhere, and they went to see her, and they said, Granny, why did you cut off the edge of the roast beef, 2 inches off the edge of the roast beef? Why did you do that? And Granny said, well, we only had a small oven. So the point being, if you need the point being said, the point being that sometimes we do things because we've always done them, and sometimes it's time to change. Change how we do it. Ban the word work. We're not talking about work. There is no more work to do. You're doing a learning task. It's not get on with your work. It's complete this task so you will learn something. If you're not learning it, tell me. Tell me if you're not learning, and I'll change the task so you can learn. In a minute, we're going to go through some questions with your tutors to find out how you do learn. But to help us do that, I want to have a little chat with one of our head students. So please welcome Kian Tedeschino. You can come out. So Kian, here he is, came to us at Fyling Hall in year 10, and he did his GCSEs in a year. Kian, when you arrived, how motivated you were with, I don't know, something like physics, which is your main thing now?
Well, to be honest, I wasn't very motivated. I never enjoyed physics in Germany, and because my teacher didn't really explain it to me properly, and I guess I didn't learn it right. So coming here and getting taught it the right way, not the right way, but a better way, that made me realize how I can learn and how I can enjoy the subject. Helped me learn, yeah.
So he changed his approach to learning now, and he did GCSEs in a year from start to finish instead of 2 years like we're supposed to do it. So what technique did you use to be able to take all that information and learn it and then apply it to get a grade 9? How did you do it? What techniques did you use?
I think, excuse me, the most important part for me has always been understanding the fundamentals. So, and having the right tools. So in physics, maths is the most important part, because if you can't do the maths, the theory is useless. You can't apply it. So you need to understand the maths, you need to understand the tool, you need to be able to use it, so you can concentrate on what you're actually doing. It's the same with everything. For example, I used to sail competitively, and it's exactly the same there. You need to know the maneuvers, you need to be able to do them in your sleep, you need to do them blindfolded.
What sort of sail are we talking about? What sort of boats are we talking about?
Single person boat. So you sit in there by yourself, one sail, and as soon as you go into competitions, you have to realize that the tactic and the strategy you have in the race is way more important than what you're actually doing. So you have to be able to not concentrate on what you're doing, I mean what you're actively doing with your boat. You have to be able to concentrate on what's going on around you, and to do that you need to actively learn how to, obviously, what to do. So it's the same in physics. You need to be able to do the basics blindfolded in the sleep while you're sleeping, and then apply that to the higher theories. And yeah, I think that's the key for me.
We need to know the basics. Remember, the G in GCSE stands for general. You've got to know the basics. But if you want to go further, you're thinking, what are the patterns? What are the things that the wider picture? When Kian said there, you need to know what is going on around you. Do you learn things in isolation, or do you think there's a connectivity between things?
I mean, I like to learn by myself. It helps me, but
I mean, in terms of ideas and how they relate to each other, how do you spot those connections? And
okay. It's very important to not only concentrate on what you actually, I mean, of course you concentrate on what you're doing, but you have to see the grander picture. So if you're trying to understand an idea, it's often helpful to relate that idea to a different topic. So you look at it from a different perspective, but then can carry it back to the thing you were actually doing. So so you're trying to understand the idea by applying it to different situations, so you understand the basics.
So what we're talking about is Kian is successful. He's one of our most successful students. So it'd be a good idea to listen to what he says. It'd be a good idea to find out, to model the behaviour that he has to learn stuff. But not just him, all of us. So in a minute, we're going to hand over to tutor groups, and I want you to find out from each other. Your tutors will lead the session on how do you learn? How do each other one of you learn? Now, everybody in this room has learned something, haven't they? Like, even if it's just to walk. Yeah, everybody walked here, so you learn how to walk. Maybe you can't remember that, but I bet there'll be something that you've learned successfully. Not necessarily a school thing. It could be surfing or ballet or a sport or a game or something else that you've done that you have mastered, that you have figured out how to do. And what we're trying to do here is to think about thinking, to think about learning, and to think, how did I do it? What did I do? Did I watch videos? Did I talk about it with people? Did I do it totally on my own? Did I do it as part of a team? Did I write it down? Did I say it out loud? What did I do to become good at this? Did I practice over and over again? Did I just practice with gaps in between? Did I not do it for a year, then come back to it? What was it that made you good at the thing that you can do? And tutors, don't take no from an answer. Everybody in your group is good at something. It's hard to believe, perhaps, but they are good at something. I've seen it. I've seen every kid in this school, I've seen them excel at something. And we need to find what that is, and then find the strategies from that and apply it to more things. It's as simple as that. If you're good at one thing, you can be good at other things. The difference between things is not as great as you think. The problem is, of course, if you're interested or not. But to spot the patterns, it can be done if you can find out the tools and way of thinking from one thing and apply it to everything else. So we're banning the word work. We're not working, we are learning. Okay, so if you see your teacher saying, get on with your work, you can challenge them. That's the point. Because they should be watching and they should be thinking, am I focused on learning? And if you walk out of a lesson and think, I didn't get it, you've got to say, you're paying for this. And I don't mean you're paying for this as in your parents are paying for it. I don't mean that. I mean you are paying for it because you're only here for the blink of an eye. You're only here for a few short years and then you're out there. And if you don't become a learner now, you never will. Our job is to make sure that you become lifelong learners now so that you can go out there in the world and learn whatever you need to learn next and become those lifelong learners. That's the point. And work and make a living. So we're banning the word work. No more worksheets. No more get on with your work. No more I finish my work. But you can use the word as I'm going to work hard. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to put more effort in. I am working hard at this. I'm working well. We are going to use the word as a verb like that. Kian, thanks very much. Tutors, I've sent you the list of the questions, but you can make your own up. I want you to think about how can we enhance learning by finding out how we already do it and share those ideas. So if you open a chat to me or an email, and as your students tell their ideas, even if they're ridiculous, which I'm sure some of them are, type them in straight away, and then at 9:40 press send so that I've got them and I'll collate them together because that will inform our next session. So I'll hand over to tutors. Thanks for listening. Keep on learning and keep on listening, keep on questioning, and I'll see you at the top. Thanks very much.